up? I got Naskin here with me. This ain't a diss song, but yeah, you know what it is. I'm a cheesehead, y'all niggas cheese whiz. Pittsburgh Steelers, that's nothing. That Super Bowl ring, that's nothing. Pull up in your town when you.
Going forward, should we call you Nate or Nathaniel? Which do you prefer?
You know, either one is good. If my dad's around, it's Nathaniel. But if for me, either one is great.
Nate, what have you seen from Deshaun and Tim, and how much of the, maybe if you want to call them inconsistencies, I don't know, is relatable to them learning this whole thing? And is this a natural progression for young quarterbacks learning your system?
Definitely, it's a natural progression. I mean, you look at Deshaun; he's going on really his third season in about 2 years, under 2 years. So I think that's always a test for a young quarterback. So he's coming along and he's got to keep grinding and learning it. And then Tim's going on his second in a young career. So I think it's just one of those things. There's always going to be a roller coaster of emotions for those guys as we're asking them to compete against a very unique defense in Coach Pettin's and learn a new system. So there's always going to be those ups and downs.
We've heard a lot of that today from Matt said it. Some of your offensive guys have said it today in the locker room. Unique system. At some point, do you have to tell Mike to pull back a little bit so you guys get some stuff done?
We're all on the same team, so it's all good stuff to see. It's I was with Mike a while ago at Buffalo, and he throws the house at you. And I think it's one of those things that it can mentally make you strong as an offense, and it really just presents all kinds of things that you can talk about as a staff and kind of move forward with. So it's good stuff to see.
That said, with Deshaun, and I think it's 4 head coaches in 3 years, but that said, I mean, he has played quite a bit. So do you expect him to be better or get further along more quickly, I guess?
Everybody's different. I would say, there's some guys that pick stuff up quick. There's some guys that they take a little bit longer time. It's always hard once you're on that third, fourth system in a short career at this level with so many high expectations for everybody. So it is difficult. And that's one thing that a lot of people don't know that these guys go through when you ask them about all the different things from getting the play, getting up to the line of scrimmage, making the calls, understanding where to go with it. Then all of a sudden it changes. There's so many different things that we ask those guys to do. So we just need to slow it down for them. And I think that, we've had a good offseason, and now moving into training camp, we really get everything over again. So I think that's really when we're hoping to see strides from really everybody.
Have you had to be a little more hands-on with Matt being relegated to the cart, to the scooter?
It's a pretty sweet scooter and cart, isn't it? The tires have gotten better and better on the scooter and on the golf cart. It's one of those things. Whatever Matt needs me to do, I'm going to do that. And obviously, with his injury, has kind of put him a little bit off to the side. But I'll tell you, that golf cart started bobbing and weaving around a little bit today. But yeah, it's just trying to do a little bit more. Anything I can get done.
Behind Devontae, it's a very young wide receiver room. How much are you leaning on him to kind of be a mentor to those guys and be that extra person to take them under his wing?
Yeah, gosh, of course, it's great to see Devontae out there. A guy that the biggest thing for me, watching him is he loves this game, and I think that right there is something that all those young guys get to see, and his work ethic. And just his understanding is how intelligent he is. I think those are all things that those guys can just kind of gravitate towards. And obviously, being the older guy and experienced and being very successful up to this point, that it's just naturally going to happen. And just kind of the man he is, it's great to have him in that room, and I think it's going to benefit everybody.
Seems like ever since Trevor Davis got here, we've talked a lot about him as a special teamer. He's gotten jobs on the 53 for his special teams ability. What could he be as a receiver?
Well, he's definitely one of those guys, and now we have to all understand it's in the shorts. It's you just got the helmets on. It's OTAs, and we still have so much more with training camp. But he definitely has done some nice things to stand out. He's made some very electric catches. He's picking up the system well. Needs to even get better at it. But with all the guys, I think it's such a young group. It's exciting to see where they're all going to go. And I think that Trevor's definitely a guy that when you put the tape on and watch him as a coach, you're like, whoa, he does stand out now. He had a couple. I want to say 2 days last. I want to say it was either Thursday or Tuesday. Whenever we practiced, we go day by day. It's all blur now. But he had a couple days that he was just. It was unbelievable. Had a nice one on the sidelines. So he's definitely doing some good things.
And you mentioned that they're in shorts and helmets. Once we get to training camp, what should we expect and what do you expect to see from your running backs and your offensive line as you really get into the meat of that zone block?
You know, it's always one of those things in the OTAs, wanting to run the ball. There's always that question, you know, are you getting, you know, what you need? And I think that in these situations in the OTAs, it's really about assignment and alignment, and then just understanding where you got to go. And I think that once we transition into this training camp world, it's now, okay, who can get movement, who can truly get the edge and maintain the edge? Because as much as you want to sit there and say, oh, that run was only 1 yard, I mean, we all know with the pads, there's a lot of things that can happen. So I think that just watching the guys and the understanding of the run plays, and the backs understanding where they have to fit into that running play has been something that I think we've gotten better at. But now once we get to that training camp world, now it's, okay, now let's see where that movement comes from. Let's see if once we capture that edge, if the backs can stay on that track, how those guys maintain those blocks. So I think that's going to be the big thing, which, you know, we don't know until that happens, until you get to the preseason, until you get those pads on. So, but up to this point, I think the understanding of the run plays, understanding of the play passes is really what you're looking for in this phase of practice.
With those veteran guys on the offensive line, who obviously were in another system for a while, how have you seen them just to be able to make the transition to, you know, to what you guys are asking?
I think they've done good. I mean, once again, it's one of those things. I think you get a better feel once the training camp stuff comes in. But I think their understanding of what we're trying to accomplish. I think they're very athletic guys up front, so you can see them move and run and take advantage of that. So I think that's been really good. There were a couple today that we got to see Bakhtiari run around the corner and watch him use his athleticism. And I think that's what this system is going to allow those guys to do with Corey and everybody. And so it's exciting. And I think that they've done a nice job learning it, and they're just going to have to continue to progress.
When you guys got in the red zone today to work with Aaron, how much of it looked like what you think it'll look like eventually? I mean, are the plays starting to look like how they're designed to go, or is the entire offense still working through that kind of stuff and how they're adjusting to the defense?
Yeah, I think everything's still a work in progress. I think there's some really good things that show up. I mean, we had a couple nice plays that Aaron and Devontae had. We had a couple nice things, a couple run around and get it up to Jimmy in the back of the end zone. So we're definitely a lot of good things. I think it's still definitely a work in progress. I think the guys are understanding a little bit more. It's not the first time they've ever heard the play. So I think that's always key is, you know, from that first day when you give them the play for the first time, they're just looking at you cross-eyed and, you know, they barely know how to line up. And I think they're now starting to get a feel for that. So they're understanding what they're trying to accomplish. But right when you feel like something's going to work and you're going to be in that right spot, all of a sudden you feel 8 people drop out or they're bringing everybody. So there's a long process for any play that you have. There's so many different things that show up for just a quarterback, let alone the other receivers from all the different coverages we can see. But I think that just understanding what we're trying to accomplish, I think they're starting to get that. And as that develops and we start understanding what we're trying to accomplish, it'll look even better.
When people see Rodgers play this fall or watch film of him in your guys' system, do you think they'll see a guy that looks like Aaron Rodgers did before, just playing in a different system, or will he look like a different Aaron Rodgers?
Whew, that's a great question. I mean, I would sit there and say, I mean, Aaron is Aaron. I mean, Aaron's done some pretty good things up to this point in his career. And I think we're still trying to understand this whole offense as a group, as a whole, and where we can try to take him even farther. I think that's what we're always trying to find out, what we're trying to accomplish. We just want to make it even easier for him. I mean, it's one of those things. He's already at a very high level, and we've all seen that. We all know that. And I think that, you know, our job as coaches with this offense is to just try to fit it with him and give him more ammo. And that's going to be something that's going to, you know, it's going to be fluid. And I think that's what we're trying to work towards.
Over the years.
Position, you know, you got these 2 experienced guys with Jimmy and Mercedes, and then some very young but inexperienced players. It'd be nice to have one with about 4 or 5 years experience in the middle, right? Talk about that.
I would say, of course, you'd like to have that. You know, we have the younger guys and then we have the veterans. It's so hard to, from my standpoint, to sit back and say, I wouldn't love to have some veterans like that. I mean, those guys, you know, we're very lucky to have them. I mean, both of them have been great pros in this league for a long time. They understand how to work. They understand how to be in the locker room, and they're great examples on the field, and they're intelligent football players. And I think that's just something that, you know, that's so hard. I mean, that's just so hard to find. And so we're so lucky to have those guys, and it shows those younger guys that, you know, they need to, you know, keep being a great pro and keep learning it, for Jace and Bobby T and all those guys. So I think it's a great opportunity for them to learn from those guys. So we're very lucky to have both those guys.